Hey there guys, and welcome to another Tales from the Shelf. This video was originally going to be about Amazing Spider-Man issue 546, so a reasonably sized video about the brand new day era of the series. This was essentially a soft reboot of Amazing Spider-Man, so removing certain parts of continuity that just wasn't working anymore and trying to breathe new life into the character. Before this, Peter Parker was married to Mary Jane and had revealed his identity to the world during the events of Civil War. Also, because of this, Aunt May was shot by someone who was out to kill Peter. I won't go into all the details about this period of the series, as that's not what this video is about. Instead, I'm giving you context as to why this reboot was on the cards for Marvel. To kick things off, the controversial One More Day storyline was published, with each printed in a different single issue of Spidey's multiple series. This involved Peter making a deal with Mephisto, the literal devil of the Marvel Universe, so he could bring back Aunt May from the dead. For some reason, to do this, Mephisto requested Peter and Mary Jane's love for each other. And so, like the sane, selfless hero that Peter is, he agreed to the deal. He literally made a deal with the devil. I, like a lot of people, hated this. It was such a terrible way of ending this era of Spider-Man. It reeked of corporate meddling from the higher-ups, and it was sad to see this character choose something so selfish, no matter how you presented it like it wasn't. This was what Editor-in-Chief Joe Quesada wanted, not Peter Parker. Peter was no longer married to Mary Jane, allowing him to be free and single. Aunt May was alive and well, and even characters like Harry Osborn, who had previously been deceased, were now back. But most importantly, and the only good reason as to why this whole mess could even exist, is because at the very least, Spider-Man now had a secret identity once again. So, Amazing Spider-Man 546. Why aren't we talking about it today? I thought I had this very issue because I was certain that I was collecting from this era from the very beginning. Hell, I knew I read it. So I went looking through all my short boxes up in the attic and, well... It's somewhere over there. I did find the box with my Spider-Man comics in, but that issue was not in there. The earliest was issue 551. So I went on that website that I should stop going on to see how much a physical copy actually is. But before I pulled the trigger, I bought a digital copy of the issue as it was cheaper, so I could read it to see if it was worth me making a video about. So, I read it. Oh, it's so bad. And that's all I'm really going to say about this issue of Spider-Man. Here's the thing. These videos aren't about me dunking on things, right? The videos are meant to be about things that I love, that inspire me in my work. You know, sure, I'll mention some things here and there that I didn't like or what I do like and all this other stuff, and there's like a range of like emotions and feelings I have about things. But you know, I've got to at least like the thing, right? I've got to at least like it. So what do? Do I just give up chasing this algorithm dragon? Spider-Man Brand New Day in theaters right now. Or do I just talk about something else? I sat down and thought about it. Why do I have such fondness for the Brand New Day era of Spider-Man? Then I remembered. There was one story in particular that I absolutely loved, something that was a true Spidey story through and through. More on that later, because I found this. Recently, Marvel have been releasing these compact graphic novels at an affordable price, and this one happens to be called Spider-Man Brand New Day. Wow, it's almost like there's a movie out or something! In this book is a curated selection of early stories from the Brand New Day era of Spider-Man, including the very story that I was talking about earlier, as well as some other really great stories from this time. So instead, after this very, very long intro, I'm about to do a Tales from the Shelf about this book here, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So, let's get this under the camera and let's take a look at it. Here it is, guys, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, I should say, before we go through, this book, as I said, is a curated selection of stories from the Brand New Day era of Spider-Man. It's not like a... there will be some issues missing in between. So if you want something like that, I'm sure there's some graphic novels, like, you know, trade paperbacks available, which have the entire run of Spider-Man Brand New Day. But if you're looking for something that's sort of cheap, like, you know, like affordable price, with just a selection of flavorful stories of that time, this is great for that. I had a really good time reading this. And yeah, I just happened to be like wandering around my city, my local town, my local city, and I came across this book, and which was great because when I was trying to think of what to talk about for, you know, this sort of time for Spider-Man Brand New Day, I wanted to do, as I said, the first issue of that era. Funnily enough, guys, that issue isn't in this book. Even Marvel don't think it's very good, clearly. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about this book. So, firstly, I won't be going through the entire book. That's because of two reasons. One, there are some stories that I'm not so keen on in this. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think although I think overall it's a pretty nice package, there are some stories that I'm just not that I wasn't that invested in. And also, guys, this book came out this year, so I'll be honest, as it's only just come out, I'd rather not spoil it for any of you. So for the sake of time and for the sake of not spoiling everything, I will only go through a selection of the stories from this selection of stories. All right with you guys? Anyway, let's talk about the cover. So this cover is drawn by the fantastic Marcos Martin, and I think, or Marcus Martin? I'm gonna say Marcos Martin. I've never actually said his name out loud, but I absolutely adore this artist. And he, I think, I will do some more research into this, but I believe he did the colours as well. So I think he did the colours, the inking, everything for this cover. But this cover was drawn specifically for this edition. As you can see, because I was trying to look for this and I couldn't see this anywhere else. I don't think it was art that has been like picked up and put onto this cover or anything. I think this is drawn specifically for it. And I checked his Instagram. He doesn't have an Instagram, so I went and found him on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I don't really use it myself, but I did find him, and I did look up the tweet or post he did, and there it was. He was talking about he's just drawn this cover, drawn this illustration for this cover. So the reason I say I was like, oh, it's got to be specific is because, as you can see here, there's references to all the stories that are in this book and nothing else. It's not like there's something out of place here. These are all characters and things from the pages of this version of this graphic novel, I should say. But yeah, lovely cover. I love the colors. I love the idea of using sort of the webbing, like squares, I guess, to sort of show, oh, he's done it there as well. He sort of like had it so it's the costume as well, to show Mr. Negative as well. Part of Mr. Negative and part of Martin Lee. I really like that. That's really cool. But yeah, really like that. I think it's a really nice, unique way of doing it. I also love the buildings are just shapes. There's no outline to the buildings. I'm curious to know, looking at them, how he's done those. It's nice. It looks really, really nice. Really pop arty. I think that's going to be a really nice, vibrant cover for the shelf. Anyway, guys, let's open it up and take a look. Got the issue numbers. Actually, let me centralize the book. Sorry about that. Then you got all the issues and what we're going to be talking about right here. So they've actually got the issue numbers written out, and with the all the team as well. I will put like a little bit of information about each story. If I miss covering certain credits, I will, like, I'll have some text boxes up because I may miss them. So the first, I got ahead of myself. The first story is this one here, and I love this cover. It's so good. I remember this one being one of these covers that I was like, oh wow, it's stuck in my brain from the Brand New Day stuff. Amazing Spider-Man 555 is our first story, guys. And I love the white of this cover and all this sort of like chaos with these sort of like supernatural enemies that Spider-Man and Wolverine are fighting, and they're the only things in color. I love this. It was such a really nice composition. I really like the color, everything. I didn't know who this person was, but I was like, this art is so good. Who is this? And I'll tell you in a minute. This I quite enjoyed as well. It was a nice bit of like world building, or not necessarily world building, but like sort of very meta sort of way of having a previously on Spider-Man type thing. They would have it so like it would be the DB newspaper. Now, just a bit of context. The DB is J. Jonah Jameson's old paper, now bought by I've forgotten his name. I'll put a text box, but it's bought by another guy. He runs the Daily Bugle now, but renamed it the DB. Sorry. And yeah, so a front page would be the previously, basically. Now, this guy, the artwork for this comic is drawn by one Chris Bachalo. I believe it's Bachalo. Some people said Bachalo. I'm just going to say Bachalo because I've heard it several times said that way, so I'm just going to go with that. If I have said it wrong, I apologise. But Chris Bachalo, this was the first time I saw his art, and I loved this. I loved the way, I think it's also just, it's very stylised with all the snow and everything. It's very stylised art anyway, but with the snow as well, it's really nice. This is written by Zeb Wells as well, who is an on and off Spider-Man writer. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Turns out when I did some research, turns out when I thought about it and I looked back on it, this felt like the first time I ever saw him, but of course I'd seen him before. Chris had been working in the comic book industry since the 90s, so I've definitely come across certain pieces of his work, but this was the first time I actually truly looked at him and went, wow. And also being a Spider-Man artist as well, I think he did a lot of like X-Men stuff, like Generation X or something like that. I think Generation X might have been the thing. But yeah. And then we get to see Wolverine and Doctor Strange here. I like the colours as well. And it's really cool to see, like, you'll see throughout the issues, there's like moments of like really nice colour. And I think it's nice with the contrast of the like all the snow and the white. Really cool to see Doctor Strange in this as well, because I believe Doctor Strange is also a character that Chris Bachalo is also famous for drawing. He did a Doctor Strange run, and that's quite highly regarded. And then we're back to all the snow again. But yeah, you got these flashes of red, these flashes of yellow, where you don't need to draw the background. I don't think that's a attempt at laziness. It's an attempt of like pointing out where the visual information that you need to see. It's really nice. Love that as well. I love a large Spider-Man coming towards the camera, and then the next panel you see he's tiny. It's a really nice like composition there as well, because again, the snow with the white, the blues and stuff, and you got Spider-Man in red just down there. And it's a really nice transition between Spider-Man moving towards the camera and he's heading off. I say he's got to go somewhere. He's got to go to the DB, because you see him like swing off, and then we sort of like he gets smaller, and then we can see here that we've got some more people talking here. It's a really nice way of displaying it, I think. And now we're focused on these guys, so they're the bigger thing. They've gone bigger. But we see a little Spider-Man there again, which I only just noticed now. Love that. Little Spider-Man there, and then there he is again. He gets bigger until he's Peter Parker. And now we're in the DB. Now, as usual, guys, I'm not going to point out too much. Only things that I feel are relevant to talking about the techniques and the way that they've conveyed stories and stuff. So we see these guys that have been apparently chasing this guy here. This was one of my favourites, I remember, from back in the day. This isn't the one I was talking about earlier, guys. We won't get to that for quite some time in this book, but this was one story that I also thought of. This is why the book's so good, because I think it is really choosing some of the best stuff that was coming out at that time. Nice flashes of red there. Sorry, I should say the colours. I probably said it in a text box, but just in case, because I'm talking about colour, and I realise I also should credit the colorist. The colorist is Antonio Fabela, who I believe, and Chris Bachalo as well. So there's a combination. So Chris can be like credited for some of this as well, but Antonio, you see him do a bunch of other colours throughout the series as well. Love that. That's really nice. Nice flash of red again. Oh, here we go. I love this as well. Again, showing I say again. It's because we've talked about this on previous videos, guys, but I'll mention this control of time here. We know this is happening incredibly slowly, hence why the panel is the exact same, except with Spidey moving, what is the guy's name? Professor Rabin, I think his name is, or Dr. Rabin or something. That's it. I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, pulling him in the webbing along with the these three monsters or like people that were trying to attack him. Again, control of time. Love this. We know this is happening and going really slowly. I love that as well. because the police are still after him, because, you know, it's classic Spider-Man, as always. Police are after him, and the guy says, freeze! No, I said freeze! And he's like, yeah, I probably will. And he just wanders off into the distance, and we see, you know, he wanders off. Like, he becomes quite small here. He get there, smaller, until there's like literally nothing. And again, because the panels get bigger and bigger as well, so we're sort of seeing like it feels slower and slower. Like, he kind of probably moves quite quickly into that, and then we see him disappear into the distance, and that's a lot slower. Yeah, very nice. And then I also feel this cover here, this is for issue 556, because this, so in this book there are some part 1s, part 2s, part 3s kind of thing, as well as some single one-off stuff. So, yeah, so although, like I said, it's a compilation, you will have full stories that, you know, like 3 parts and stuff. So this is part 2 of that story, and it feels like a continuation of that last panel, because now we're seeing Spider-Man, like, very, very small again, with a sea of white and blue. Yeah. Really good, and I think that, like, very, like, you keep the consistency there. In a way, this is kind of like another panel. Do you know what I mean? The first panel to this story. There's some stuff about Jameson here because he had a heart attack. I won't talk too much about it, but just thought I'd let you know why you probably go, why is Jameson in the bed? Well, you know, had a heart attack. They never talk about that in this book, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling too much because you wouldn't know that. Yeah. So one thing I will say, one criticism with this is, I would have loved this to be handwritten. This text, you've got like the title text here and all this other stuff. Maybe that's a lot to ask for because you've got a lot going on here with all the credits and stuff, but the title, I don't know, you could have done, you know, like Will Eisner would do with The Spirit, or, you know, there's some other artists who have completely elude me, the names elude me, but like Will Eisner was very famous for doing this for his Spirit stuff. He would always have like, you know, the type, sort of typeface, like he would draw the logo or the title into the pages, and I would have loved to have seen that here, like, you know, him drawing the last nameless day in the snow. That could, I mean, there could be more reasons why you do that. Well, I mean, the main reason is, bear in mind, guys, and we will talk about more about this, this comic was, I believe, coming out 3 to 4 times a month. I think that's what it was. I remember spending quite a lot to try and keep reading Spider-Man at the time. So they did Brand New Daily. It was a brand new era of the Spider-Man comics, and one of the things they started doing was it was coming out more frequently than once a month. So there were tighter deadlines, and that's why you saw a rotating crew of artists as well. Bachalo will come up quite a lot. He comes up a lot in this one book, but he comes up frequently in there. But he's also a really good artist, so I mean, I loved that. I loved him being in it. Nice piece of, I like this. I like this sort of structure they're going for, this sort of 1, 2, 3. Almost 9 panel layout. Obviously it's technically 10 here, but I like that because it's breaking down one image of people having conversations. That's always a good go-to. Yeah, go for the 9 panels, you know. Really nice. And again, splashes of color with no backgrounds here because it's not important. The visual information is the people talking. You know, the important part of the visual information is these people talking. So we need to see that. So no need to do backgrounds until you get to this point where you're seeing this guy here in the prison cell, but we need to see he's not got any bars on. That's when you see it in the background of this panel, so you know that, oh yes, you know, that has to be there kind of thing. It's really cool when a cartoonist can look at, like, I mean, that might have been the writer, I'm not sure, but like looking at the visual information that needs to be told and removing certain things. It's not necessarily laziness, it's maybe sometimes a necessity, so you're actually conveying to the reader what you need to be, you know, what needs to be seen. Here, I'm not so keen on this, speaking of, you know, maybe laziness. I wouldn't call him lazy, but Bachalo also used to do a lot of like photo manipulation or something like that. There's one point on here where it looks like a Photoshop filter, and I'm pretty sure that's what's happened here. But that's like a weird pixelated like picture of, like, I don't know, Earth with the lightning thing going on. I know in some cases, some cartoonists use this to save time. Hell, we've seen manga artists do it as well over in Japan. But they sort of use it to trace over or something like that. Jack Kirby used to do it too, where you're using it to trace, maybe a bit more photo manipulation involved and stuff. But this just feels like it's just a pixelated piece of like a Google image search or something. I'm not a huge fan of it. Classic, classic, and only something you can do in comics. Spider-Man in like different drawings of Spider-Man, but he's in several positions because he's moving across this one image. I love this. I love, and you can only do it in comics where you're having like a moment in time that's actually several moments in time. It's very cool. I love all this chaos. Like, although it's still calm, it's all, as in the pages look really nice. There's not like, look, it's not crazy, but it's still like this chaos. And Bachalo's really good at capturing that. But it's the chaos of all the snow. I love how I can still make out everything that's going on, but there's snow everywhere. I should mention here the homeless guy that Peter meets sticks a load of paper into his costume. That's why he might look a bit like, you know, quite large later on. Oh, that's pretty cool. I was wondering, the paper comes out of the... so when Spider-Man gets hit by this guy here, we see that there, a nice bit of splash of red there because of the impact. See him flying across. And you're seeing all these bits of paper fall out. Maybe Bachalo didn't want to draw it that much. draw Spider-Man in this sort of like really big costume. I think these might be digital. This lettering might be digital, I think. I don't think they're hand-drawn. But it's interesting because he's kind of kept like the whoosh here, for example. Bachalo must have obviously made the art so you can fit that in. So maybe there was like a pencil drawing beforehand, I'm not sure. I love that. Again, they're doing it a lot where you're seeing Spider-Man, this little red and blue guy in this white. It's a really like sexy looking story in terms of the art. It's kind of why I fell in love. Oh, I love his art. I've never noticed this before as well. The eyes that Chris does as well. It's really nice. Chris draws even. So we see in this at this point the reveal is at the very end that actually the villain, he wasn't the professor wasn't being attacked by these guys. They were actually like a sacrifice, and he was trying to sacrifice them basically. So it turns out he was the villain. Then the final issue of this three-part here, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 557. I like this cover. I think it's brilliant. I love this sort of like this chaos that's happening here, and this shape that you know, it curves round and sort of like hugs the cover. I really like it. And I think the only thing I would say is I really wish that all three of the three-part covers were this sort of white with the splashes of red and stuff. But you know, it's a really nice cover regardless. That's just me nitpicking a little bit. That's so nice. Controlled chaos. That's what people have said about Chris, and I can vouch for that. I think it's controlled chaos. Oh, that's so cool. I love the way the light comes in and you can just see the teeth. It's very, very nice. This was pretty cool here. So it turns out these beings are almost what's the word? Omnipotent, I believe is the word I'm trying to find. Basically he can sort of like, he's everywhere basically. And you see this here, and I love the way they've done this. So you're seeing this fight here happening, and there's this one image here. Spider-Man's all like, well, where did that come from? You didn't move, like, because he was right there, and he hit him. Okay. And there he is there, and his punch hits Spider-Man on the side of the head on this panel. And it's a really nice way. It's something you can only do in comics, where he's sort of showing and demonstrating that his powers make him, he can be anywhere at the same time as being somewhere else. It's very cool. Like, it's such a little subtle thing. And I don't remember that at all in this story, but rereading it, I was like, that's really, really cool. So yeah, you see him like, yeah, really nice use of showing this character's time manipulation powers. It's very, very cool. It's only subtle as well. It's not too aggressive. And very meta, because you're having Spider-Man react like, how did you do that? How do you do this? And he's like breaking the fourth wall. Again, classic movement again, seeing Spider-Man move, and I really like that. I really like seeing that. There was a period where they just didn't do that anymore. As I said earlier, it was comics being afraid of being comics again, and I think this is why I really, this brand new day era of Spider-Man really spoke to me, because it felt like I was reading comics again, and this is one example right here. Oh yeah, Peter tries to get in contact with Harry, because Carly Cooper is works for the police, and she might have been caught. And it turns out she is caught, but we'll get to that in a minute. Love this as well. Peter's at the phone box trying to talk to Harry. Once he's done, he then looks up and you can see this sort of shadow here, and it's I left it so you can see. You see this little panel here, this shadow and stuff, and like Spider-Man being like, oh, okay, and he's so small. And then the very next panel, you see that. And it's a huge panel with like not a lot of visual information except Spidey in the corner here, but you're seeing like he's in the sky, he's been thrown, there's a bit of debris here as well. And then this big panel becomes this really small panel, it's the impact. So it's like, you know, like it's really cool. I love that. I love it when cartoonists can do that. And we've talked about it before on the channel. The use of panel sizing to convey a certain amount of time that's passing. And the smaller the panel is usually the amount of the smaller amount of visual information that's needed. Therefore, it feels faster. It's really cool way of controlling time. Even though they're static pages, like they're not moving images. It's crazy. And then eventually, Spidey, Carly, and even the homeless guy with a bunch of other homeless people stop this guy from doing what he's trying to do. This baddie. Oh, some really nice imagery from Chris here. And of course, Antonio. Yeah, and that's it. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, so I didn't go through the story too much. I didn't want to spoil it. There, though, again, what I was saying about Chris Bachalo, he does do this a bit, and you'll see it a few times. That's clearly just a scene that's been like, you know, used like a posterized filter or something on Photoshop. Again, I'm not keen on it, but if you're working to a deadline, it is what it is, isn't it? And so that was the first time I ever experienced Chris Bachalo's work, or at least I thought that was. And yeah, I was so set up for the Spider-Man brand new day stuff. This was so cool. It was really, really nice. So that's yeah, one of my favorite two-parters from what I remember. There's another story in here which we'll get to very soon as well. Here is Amazing Spider-Man 562. We're going to skip this story, but just quickly, here is the cover by Mike McCone, Andy Lanning, and Maury Holloway, I believe their name is. Yeah. It is part one of a part two story, or a two-part story, I should say. Both are in here. It uses the classic trope of an imposter Spider-Man, as you can see there. In fact, I'll put it, sorry, let me put it central so you can see. It uses the classic trope, as I said, of like the imposter Spider-Man. It's been done several times. In fact, we've even talked about it on this channel. I think there was one Spider-Man book that I did. Go check out that video. It's about the first ever graphic novel I bought, or ever read, I should say. It wasn't a bad story necessarily, but I just think we want to skip certain stories. I think this one. Oh, I should say as well, it's not relevant, but this is a villain that they introduced in Brand New Day called Menace. I only want to mention that character because I have a hunch that character is going to be in the new movie. So just saying. If they're not, then I mean, I take it back. I'm sure you will get something out of it, guys. It's just that I looked at it and it wasn't gelling with me, along with the story and stuff. But you get to see the bar with no name. That's a cool thing about Spider-Man. It just felt like a house style thing, and I don't like using that either because I think there's but that's kind of how I felt. See, it's pretty good though. I love this. Yeah, it just didn't gel with me, guys. That's all. But yeah, so take what I say with a pinch of salt because it's not fair. Like I'm not gonna like all the art. Do you know what I mean? And in some cases, you might look at it and go, I love Mike McCone, and that's absolutely fine. Same with Spider-Man 563, and I'm skimming it because I think you guys should check it out instead. And tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about this. Some cool stuff, though. There is cool stuff in this. Like I said, it's just not for me. Just didn't gel with me. So here we have Amazing Spider-Man issue 564, drawn, well, the cover, I should say, is drawn by, of course, Chris Bachalo. Lovely art. There's a little Mr. Negative here, so I think that's the relevance to this issue. This is why this issue's here, because I think it's just showing a Mr. Negative appearance, who is a very important part of a Brand New Day. Don't know if he is for the movie, but he certainly is for the Brand New Day era, so introducing him. And also he's quite a popular character because of the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 games as well. Anyway, lovely cover, but he didn't draw the interiors. No, the interiors are drawn by Paolo Sequeira. I'll put the names up on the screen. Sorry, Paolo, I cannot read. we are going to skip this one, guys, because again, I wasn't hugely bothered by it, and I want to get to some of the stuff that I am bothered by. So, but yeah, again, if you're looking at this art and going, I think this is great, Ben, it's like, that's cool. I wasn't jazzed by it, to be honest. There's a bit of Mr. Negative stuff here. There you go. There he is, Mr. Negative. Quite like that Spider-Man. Like the eyes. There you go. So nice and quick. And so, Amazing Spider-Man 574. I promise we shall stop skipping soon. And I'm not skipping this one because I didn't enjoy it. I'm skipping this one just because I think we need to. This one issue features Flash Thompson discussing his time in the Middle East with a general while in the infirmary. I don't want to say anything more about spoiling it, if I'm being honest, because I think it's a really good story. But I should say, if you read this before, like people who read Brand New Day or people who like Spider-Man will know what this story is about. You know, it's about Flash Thompson. It's about him talking to his I don't know if it's his general or a general, because he went into the Middle East, about the Medal of Bravery. I don't need to say any more than that. I'm sure people know. But if you don't know, read this story. It's a good story. I really enjoyed it. As I said, I had some minor issues with the story, but I mean, all in all, I thought this is a pretty good book. Story, I should say. And I really enjoyed some of, like, as you can see, some of these interpretations of like past Spider-Man events, which would be normally drawn by Steve Ditko. There's another one there. And I'm going to try and purposely skip some of it so I don't spoil any story parts for it. That one's a Steve Ditko again. There's the annual cover. I like that interpretation. Barry did a good job with those. Don't want to spoil it for you guys. Right. Another Chris Bachalo cover, Amazing Spider-Man 575. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to go over to it now. Right, here we are. However, guys, I'm going to kind of skip over this one as well. This is the last time I'm skipping, though. I'm skipping this story. And not, again, obviously I like it. I think it's brilliant. And it's one of the other stories that I thoroughly enjoy. And it's the only time where I think they made Hammerhead scary. It's really cool. But it's written by Joe Kelly and drawn by Chris Bachalo, of course, with Bachalo and Fabella doing the colours once again. Kind of what we saw before, really. It's not like, we've already covered Bachalo, so that's why I was thinking, let's skip this story. Even though I highly recommend you read it. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. And I like the way he draws Mr. Negative. We saw it there. I wasn't keen on the other, the first time we've seen Mr. Negative in this book, but in the Bachalo stuff, it's really, really nice. Really, really nice. And Hammerhead looks great. Let's get to a Hammerhead part, just so I can quickly show you that. Oh, look at, this is what I'm talking about. This chaos and these, like, the violence, but it's not actually violent. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty violent actually, right here. Nice flash of red. Oh, and there's Hamren text. Why couldn't he do that before? I love that. Next issue, the hammer falls. Oh, so good, guys. Like I said, I don't want to spoil. Oh, this is such nice layouts. But shame we're not going to be talking about it. Yeah. I always think Hammerhead is a bit of a crap villain, to be honest. But in this story, he's really, really good. Oh, Mr. Negative. I love that. I wonder how they did that. How did you guys do that? Huh? How do you do that, Bachalo, even? Oh, nice speed lines at the back. Very, very nice. Love this. The way that Hammerhead hugs the panel. And Spider-Man's always so small. I never remember Hammerhead being this big. He's like bigger than Rhino at some points. Fantastic stuff. Love that. But we are not talking about that. Go get this book and check it out, because honestly, it's a really good story. So this is Amazing Spider-Man 577, which is a favourite of mine. This issue is when I first saw the work of the incredible Paolo Rivera. And I was like, who is this? I want more. Of course, Punisher is in this one because the story is great, but, you know, I mean, there's a certain film out with Punisher, so why wouldn't you have this story in? And right from the get-go, it feels like... Paolo Rivera is this guy who's able to draw classic but modern. Like, it's a modern comic, but it looks like it harks back to the classic times. I feel like people like Paolo Rivera and Chris Samney is another one who... Both of these guys worked on the Daredevil series written by Mark Waid. And another artist who will be on the next story we'll be talking about. But I won't mention him just yet. There's some handwritten text as well, like here, look, handwritten sound effects, this is what I'm talking about. That just looks so good. It's clearly integrated into the page. Yeah. Paolo Rivera does this a lot, though. He does a lot of, like, I wonder if he pushed for that or something, because, like, you're seeing it way too often throughout these stories. I know we skimmed through some of them where they're just using, they're using digital text instead for the letterer, which is quite, I don't want to take away jobs from letterers, obviously. It's just that I really love having these sound effects in particular. Not necessarily the speech bubbles, I just mean the sound effects being integrated into the environment. I just think works so much better. You can see, like, there's all these lines. Hang on, let me move it closer to there. You can see all these lines, like, coming from, like, they move with the explosion. It's just great. Also, these next selection of panels do remind me a bit of Batman Year One. Don't you? Don't they remind you a little bit? I think it's probably because it's just a lot of gangsters with smoke and stuff like that. But it reminds me of the scene at the dinner party, you know. I can't remember the exact quote, but, you know, and Batman's all like, you know, you've eaten well. That one, you know, that bit. Loads of hand type. Oh, it's just great to see some handwritten text. And although you're seeing some, like, long panels, it's more about displaying the visual information is necessary, right? You need it to be like that. You've got the guys moving this way. So having the panel go that way makes sense. I think what I've said earlier when I was talking about letterbox panels and stuff and it was becoming a thing where they were just doing it. And there's a few stories like that in here where it's just like, you're just doing it. But it was comics, man. American comics were going through those growing pains at the time where they were trying to they were like, right, people are getting bored of this sort of look and they want to start seeing comics be comics again. And I think you still see, I have nothing against these panels. It's just that I think it has to work with, you know, there has to be visual information that's necessary to put into those panels, you know. Nice. Oh, Paolo Rivera is so good. Love these, like, because this is all traditional as well. Like, he draws traditionally. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, now it says he did his art, so Paolo Rivera probably did the inking, but I know his dad was the guy who used to do inking for him most of the time. That's a nice scene. Again, a long panel, but you're filling it full of really nice faces. Paolo Rivera really is a cartoonist. You're just seeing all these, like, all these faces of just, like, random people, but they've all got their own character. You can see that. It's really nice. And we're able to point out Peter and the Punisher quite nicely because they're sort of central, but they're not, like, in dead center. They're just sort of like, you know, we can read that. And the text is like, you know, we're going across them. It's really nice. Sorry, I skipped over a page. Oh, there's too much information there to talk about. Here, like this. This is a cool panel. So you've got to see the Punisher is going through. He's watching this footage of this footage of this horrific thing that's happening, and the person involved is this terrorist that he's after. But you know the Punisher, he wants to use lethal force and all that jazz. But what I like about here is you've got the Punisher here. Obviously our artist or our writer, whoever, our creators want us to focus on the Punisher here. Right, and it's one full image, but by dividing it in two, you've made it so the reader looks at this and then looks at this, even though it is one image. It's very nice. I like that. Also, this Spider-Man is just ace. Again, I never seen. This was the first time I saw Paolo's work, and it's just like, oh, I love the look of this Spider-Man. It's very classic again, but it's clearly modern. Like, I don't think Spider-Man looks like this. Steve Ditko-esque, but it's not Steve Ditko. The eyes are different. This spider at the back is weird as well. I love the little faces this Spider-Man pulls as well. Paolo Rivera didn't draw enough Spider-Man. He drew a bunch of issues in the Brand New Day stuff and the One More Time stuff, but like he didn't draw enough Spider-Man, man. He's great. Nice. So then we got to part 2 here. And in part 2, I love this. I love this way this works. We're sort of going downwards because Spidey's sinking. And then we're sort of going up. I love that. You're sinking and then up because he's trying to swim up. And these ink lines are gorgeous. They're so good. It's quite funny. Peter Parker steals a boat. Spidey steals a boat from this woman who's asking, like, telling him off for wearing this costume when he's swimming. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And I think that's the thing with the Brand New Day stuff with writers. I can't remember who wrote this one. I never actually said. Apologies. It'll be in the text box, but yeah, it was written by Zeb Wells. And I think it was a point where like writers and artists were allowed to play with Spider-Man again. I think that's the thing with the Brand New Day era that, I mean, people complain about One More Day and I understand why, but if it wasn't for that and the Brand New Day stuff, we wouldn't have more playful stuff like this, I think. I think it's because Spider-Man became quite dark and I think that's what they were trying to get at. I don't think doing what they did was the right decision, but I understand why something had to be done. Love this as well. Nice movement, the way he sort of lands. Like twonk, you can hear it, and the fingers. What's going on with his little fingers? I love this little, very Steve Ditko pose here with the fingers. I love this Spider-Man. I wish we could have seen more of it, to be honest. And this as well. Let's know that little panel is so unnecessary, but I love it. I love that. So good. But he's able to do him scary as well. That's a really nice panel. Really like the way that's laid out. Yeah, Paolo is great. He balances funny and like intimidating really well. That's a good idea. Don't draw background. You don't need to. But let's completely just completely black out that panel. It's really nice. I haven't actually said much about the Punisher, but I like his Punisher. It kind of reminds me of Wolverine a little bit, where it's just really hairy, ugly. It's great. I love it. I love this. We don't, I very much enjoy the playfulness of this panel. We don't need to see all the windows of the boat as Spidey's, I guess sails it. He doesn't pilot it. It's a boat, isn't he? But, as he's sailing the boat back to shore. We don't need to see all these windows. But there's just something funny about it. I like it when he's sort of like, like there. Oh, it's good. It beats driving a cab. That's for sure, I'm sure. I've never driven a cab before, so I can't say. So that's Spider-Man 577. Yeah, I love it. You should check it out. It's a really nice story. It was my first experience with Paolo Rivera. This will not be the last time we talk about Paolo Rivera on the channel. He's one of my absolute favorite artists. So yeah, that was great. But now, guys, this is the reason as to why I wanted to talk about this Spider-Man Brand New Day compact graphic novel. This story here is the story I was talking about way at the beginning of this video. Amazing Spider-Man issue 578 and 579. This is written by Mark Waid and drawn by Marcos Martin. The guy from the start, the guy from the cover. Yeah. And this was the first time I discovered his work, and I instantly fell in love with him after this. I instantly fell in love with his work. It was so good. And this, looking at these 2 pages alone, this is what comics are, It's nice to see in mainstream comics to see this after everything. And this is what Brand New Day means to me. It's this 2-parter right here. And a bunch of other things. Some things that aren't even in this book, and I'm sure in future videos we'll touch upon more of the Brand New Day stuff when it comes relevant. There's a lot of Dan Slott stuff that he's written I'd love to talk about as well, and he's even worked with this guy too. And this is easily one of my, I don't know, probably my top 3 Spider-Man artists right here. He's so good. I love him. Anyway, let's move on. Let's actually talk about Unscheduled Stop Part 1 and Part 2. So the first page here, we've got this gorgeous piece here of a classic Spider-Man, you know, eating takeout on a roof somewhere. I love this. Well, I didn't notice this at first. That's actually a webbed up umbrella. It's not. I thought it was just an umbrella, but no, it's one he's made out of webbing or like in a bit of wood or something. You can see there. Love the rain as well. Again, I'm a sucker. Much like snow, I like rain as well. That's in comics. It looks so good. We got the today you will be lucky. In his little fortune cookie, and we can see, oh, he's obviously looking at that. There's not like it's quite an easy explanation here. It's just like interesting though with the panel. I don't know why this bit is introduced here. Do you see where it's just like it's not just the corner, it's just gone a little bit under the corner, so we've got a bit of the top there. Very weird. I don't know why Marcos did that, but you know, why not? This next page though, this is true comics right now. We've got the a full page here, illustration with these panels on top. And what you're seeing is the full image here, but you're taking this piece up here. Now, I'll show you. I'll better put this close to the camera so you can see. You can see here we've got the Metro card at the start in the wind, but it's part of this image, right? You can sort of see it in the distance, and it's going to land on Spidey here. But we're getting some close-ups as well, and we're seeing this panel here, how it then breaks into this panel. And then into this one, and it's sort of like it's like traveling through panels. I might be overthinking it when I say that. It might be I'm thinking unnecessarily, you know what I mean, like it's a bit unnecessary me thinking like that. It's just panels, but I still think this is a really creative way, a very interestingly visual way of conveying this. It's not just simply just putting some panels there. Marcos has sort of done it so it's like this card is integrated and like sort of moving between the panels. I really like that. I just think it's really clever. And you can see here as well, this is all split. This part here is split into 4 different panels, right? But this is the same image. This is one image, and this is you would argue this is one image here, but we had to have this one to introduce it invading this space here. It's moved from this space to this space. It's just really cool. And then there's 2 are just panels. If I'm being honest, you know, keeps the story moving forward. But I love this. And then yeah, the Metro card lands in the umbrella, and he takes out. We also see the Will Be Lucky ticket, just not ticket, little fortune cookie thing, just there. But we've already seen it before, so we don't need to see the whole thing. Just really nice. This like 2 pages in a row, man. We've got this one as well, which is again something you can only do in comics, much like previous. As previously mentioned in some of these stories, we talked about how certain panels can be a moment in time, but also several moments in time. And this is another classic Spider-Man, or even comics sort of thing, but especially in Spider-Man. So we see Peter right at the start here, running through the subway. I should say these panels here. We see him running through the subway, and then we get this sequence down here. Now this is just one moment in time, but actually several. It's very cool. So what I mean by that, so I'm just making it so you can see through the glare. We've got Peter up here. He knocks into this guy, knocking him over with his takeout there, and he's sort of pushing through all these people. But we see Peter move from there to there to down to there, and it's really nice. And like we can, as a reader, can actually read this very well, because it's going with the sound bubbles as well. But we can have it so it's like it's moving from up here. Even though we read left to right, it's just really cool how it starts from right, but because of the way the image is angled, the way the lettering is done and everything, we're having it go from right to left to right again. It's very cool. I love it. And also, what is interesting is, even though we're seeing Peter essentially travel through time, through a paused moment, we're also seeing actually the takeaway did the same thing, because look, right up there it is, and where Peter knocks him, and then the takeaway lands on this guy down here. But we're seeing that's how the time it takes for that to hit there is the amount of time Peter gets to get to there. It's really, really cool. I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but this is what these videos are about, is to discuss and dissect how the art is made and how the process, well, not just how it's made, but also the message behind each panel and stuff. So we see Peter, he gets to the subway, subway carriage, and he's immediately removed from it. He's told he can't go in, even though it's pretty much empty, and that's quite suspicious, right? Anyway, this lady here lets him into the carriage, this very full carriage right next door, because she's clearly into him, and that's a bit of like a Parker luck thing. Like, he's like, oh yeah, this girl's into me, this is pretty cool, but I mean, he's got to be Spider-Man, right? So we see him, like, she's being very flirtatious with him, and he has a moment where he's like, oh, this is going to be great. But then his spider sense starts going off, and suddenly the ceiling of the subway caves in on them, as you can see here. He tries to get to the other side so he can change into his Spider-Man costume, because of the spider sense going off. He's like, okay, there's something bad happening, but he's too late. And we can see here, this is really cool actually, this panel. You see, like, this is all hand-drawn, but look how it's messing with the camera as well. There's sort of, like, overuse of different lines and stuff. I always think that's really crazy. You can do that digitally just fine, but when people do it by hand, it's just so impressive. Same with here, we got some speed... Oh, sorry, I put it down. We got some speed lines as well. Yeah, this is such a cool book. And then, poof, everything just, smashes down. Oh! I should mention, just something I just noticed as well. What's really cool. Yeah, so we have white borders, like a classic comic. White borders, and I love this when like creatives do this, but it's white border all the way through until we have the moment where everything smashes and there's no light. It's black borders now. Love that. I've only noticed it right now, and that's really, really cool. It's just so subtle. I really like that. And I love this costume. We can't quite see the costume underneath Peter's tatty rags, his clothes, but you can sort of just make it out. And I mean, these eyes are so cool as well. Different from Paolo Rivera's, but again, it's that same sort of like look. It's classic but contemporary. I mean, Marcos is easily what I would call like a Steve Ditko for the modern era. That's how I feel when I look at his art. It's like he harkens back to like artists like Steve Ditko or like like sort of that sort of era of 60s sort of comics, but it's clearly a modern comic as well. He's so good. I really like it. That's why he's easily one of my favourite Spider-Man artists. Love that. When you see, like, you can really feel the weight crashing down and him getting, like, the speed that he's sort of moving out. But it's like Peter didn't quite do it. Like, it was only just with his, the last of his ounce of strength he could do that. Like, he nearly screwed that up, you know what I mean? It's really good character acting in this. Probably move forward a bit just so we can crack on, but I will talk about, I mean, there we go, full costume, so good. Well, apart from the glove, but yeah, this is just classic Spider-Man, but it works in this contemporary sort of comic. So this guy here becomes incredibly helpful. This is a bit of a story plot, so it tries to help Spidey. We're trying to get these people out. He wants to get everybody out to safety. Of course he does. So, but that's the remainder of this story is trying to get these people to safety out of the subway. It's so good because, like I said at the start, the reason I find this Spider-Man story so important to me is because I feel it's true Spider-Man in the sense that it's like you see some of the tropes, him being so selfless, the New York citizens trying to help each other as well. We got the one guy that isn't helpful, this guy here, because it turns out, well, the suspicions are that this carriage was this was done on purpose because this carriage specifically held the jury and the lawyers for this court case that was about to happen, and they were on the way to the courtrooms for a big-time crime lord, I believe. So a little suspicious. I love it. They're not even using like details on the walls or well, they are using it for the walls, but only on the light parts. So like the ceiling is completely pitch black. And even here, pitch black, but you're seeing the cracks are highlighted. That's really nice shorthand. And then we see all the water come in. Oh, it's so good. This, yeah, like I said, during Brand New Day, this felt like, this is what comics were like and what they should be like. It's just great. Then it's revealed it's the Shocker. So the Shocker was the guy that was working for this crime boss. Love that. Again, something you can only do in comics. You're showing like all this visual information in one. It's everything separate, but also together. It's really cool. Not afraid to just show parts as well. Just bits of visual information. So good. So yeah, Spidey takes down Shocker and he's able to get his gauntlet as well. One of his gauntlets, I should say. Love that. That's such a good shit. Because it's revealed that this person here that was helping Spidey out in the amongst all the New Yorkers is J. Jonah Jameson Sr., JJ's father. Very cool. And then we move on to 579. Love this cover. It's so good. It's become one of those iconic covers for me. It's just as good as the original John Romita first appearance. Do you know what I mean? I love this cover so much. And I love the fact that all the debris is being smashed about and stuff. It's very reminiscent of like old comics. Really enjoy it. Bit of plot here. It's Aunt May is seeing on the news over at the Feast Centre where she works that there's been like an explosion or something that's caused this subway train to be covered in rubble. And Aunt May's assuming that Peter isn't on there. She was worried at first and being like, oh no, he probably isn't on there. And it turns out obviously he was there. He's there and he's being all Spider-Man. Love this. This is such a cool picture. Unscheduled stop part 2. The red from the red is from his little light that he's got. Oh, that JJJ Senior is holding. But it's the light from Peter's belt. Again, we've seen it several times, but here's another classic Spidey. One moment in time, but several moments in time. It's really cool. Yeah, reading this again was a lot of fun. The writing's really good as well. It's Mark Waid, and Mark Waid's a fantastic comic book writer anyway. I love his stuff. So it was great in terms of a story, but I mean, Marcos is a dream, to be honest. Dream of a comic book artist. And then we see here JJ is speaking to a lawyer, a divorce lawyer, I believe. Yeah, a divorce lawyer. Sorry, I just had to make sure. With his wife. Because he was upset about, as you know, as we mentioned right at the very start, the DB, the Daily Bugle, is now owned by Dexter something or other. I've forgotten his name again. But yeah, that guy now owns it. But it was sold to him by JJ's wife because, of course, he had a heart attack in the issue of the comic that we won't talk about because it was awful. But at the end of that issue, he had a heart attack. Spoilers. So good. Most of the colours in this is just pitch black with these hints of red from the light. It's really cool. I think that's the thing as well. It's very stylized. Oh yeah. So Peter starts pulling the citizens up on like a pulley type thing. Gets all the people out. And he's using all his strength he can, and he's talking. I love this as well because this is all the conversation that's happening as well. So you're seeing all this sort of like the action here and stuff, but it's JJJ talking to Peter to try and keep his strength up, like he's trying to ignore the pain of trying to lift this. And then also suddenly there's loads of rats all over him. I don't know if I like the fact that Peter uses this thing to just shoot all the rats off, but I suppose, I mean, the rats could be like covered in like diseases and all kinds of stuff. They are in basically what is essentially the sewers, right? So maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not so keen on animal cruelty though, Spidey. Oh, it's so good. Oh yeah. Shocker betrays them. Of course he does. Nice shot though. And then it's all this nice blue as well. I should say, great job by Javier Rodriguez for the colours. It's so, so good. And I think we're near the end at this point. Again, just completely... I just love this. I think it's so good, like the cartooning here, where it's like, we don't need to draw backgrounds. We can just use pitch black and then to emphasise the darkness, because it is completely dark, with no lights down there. They're obviously underground. But they're using like highlighted things, so like all the cracks and stuff. We can still see a scene, but it's just black with like cracks over the top of it. It's just, yeah, really cool. Very brave. I don't think I would do that. I don't know. I've done scenes where they're like in my comics where they're dark and stuff, but I end up just, I don't know, drawing the details and then making it, you know, just darkening the colors and stuff. But honestly, I think I would love to try something like this. Yeah, like just, I love how like it looks like they are in darkness. It's really cool. No need to do this little panel here, but you did it anyway. I like that. I think it's cool. No need to do. I wouldn't even thought of that, but it's just like, you know, Spider-Man jumps into the water and then we just see the bloop, bloop, bloop. And then he saves Jameson Sr. Those eyes, man. I think I really do dig the Spider-Man eyes. Saves Jameson Sr. And now we're back out. We're back out into the open. So much rain. So much rain. I love it when you can sort of like, I think this is, yeah, this is definitely hand-drawn, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, I was having a better look. Yeah, when I've done comics in the past, I've done rain. I love drawing rain, but I never draw it like this, where it's like, it's almost like it's like cutting into the line art. I'll mention here again, we're doing the classic thing where it's like one image, but we've got a border around this, so it shows like the creators want to direct you to Jameson, who's right there. I don't know if you needed that, but it's already part of the style that these guys have formed, so. And then that was it. I know I was very quick to talk over, you know, quickly sort of skimming through it and talking about it, but that's because the video's gone on for quite a while. But honestly, this is, I love this two-parter so much. It was something, whenever I think of Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think of this. We do have one more story. I didn't say at the start, but that was going to be the last story we'll cover, purely because of the fact that it's the one that I've been bigging up, right? And also, this one is more about Anti-Venom. This is from Amazing Spider-Man Extra 2. And also, it's the great Chris Bachalo again. But, like, I mean, I'll show it to you at least, because this is such lovely art. Because, of course, it is. But this is about Anti-Venom, and we won't go into that, because this is, again, something you guys should check out. It's not a bad story. I quite enjoyed it. Sweet, some Mr. Negative stuff again. But it's more because we have seen Bachalo quite a lot this video, guys. Anyway, so that is Spider-Man Brand New Day, the compact graphic novel edition. I don't know what you call it, really. Spider-Man Brand New Day is what I've just been calling it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been really fun going back down memory lane. I didn't realise, I mean, some of these came out, what, 2008, 2009 kind of times, and now we're in 2026. It's crazy. It's been so long. I remember getting these as they were coming out at my local comic shop. Shout out to Abstract Sprocket, by the way, if you're still watching. There's the comic shop that I've been going to since I was 14 years old, based in Norwich. So if you're in Norwich, go to Abstract Sprocket. Anyway, that's enough about that. Thank you guys for sticking around to the very end. For you guys, if you have subscribed, if you have liked this video, do leave a comment about your favourite Spider-Man story from comics. I would love to see that, because if you do, you might be in for a chance to win this. That's right, I've already got these as issues, so I don't really need the book, so you can win this very copy of Brand New Day. All you gotta do is, like I said, make sure you've liked this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and then just leave a comment. And I will hopefully announce the winner next video, or in a couple of weeks, I'd say. But I'll randomly choose a comment and go from there. So, yeah. In the meantime, guys, if you like what you see here, for example, here's some of my drawings. This is some of the pencil and ink stuff that I've done in the past over on my streams that I do every Monday at 8 PM UK time. So come join me for that. And come back here for another Tales from the Shelf very soon. Cool. All right, guys. Until next time. See you later.